Hey everyone! I wanted to thank you guys from the bottom of my heart, sincerely, for subscribing to this channel, for supporting me, and for being a part of this wonderful community. It wouldn't be here without you guys. It would just be some girl talking to a camera about her language learning experience and what has helped her. Because through your comments, I've gotten to know you. I've gotten to know about your language journey, not just what language you're learning, but through different stories I've learned about your struggles, I've learned about some victories that you've had, and I'm really enjoying getting to know you guys. And I hope that through this video, you'll enjoy getting to know me too. Who knows, maybe some of these facts will resonate. Out of the Twitter poll that I had going on about a week or two ago, I had the options of either doing a 50 facts video to celebrate this milestone in this channel, or doing a live stream Q&A. And you guys chose the 50 facts video, which is really humbling to me that you guys actually want to get to know me. I don't really talk about my life outside of language learning. I am nervous to talk about it because I'm kind of, I don't know, I feel like in real life I'm more of an open book than I am online. It's very weird, but I'll try to be a little bit more open about things outside of language learning. And because of that, if you've been a long-time subscriber and you've seen my videos for a while, I'm not going to mention the things you already know, such as my background, my faith, and my relationship status. I will talk about those things a little bit, but you'll already know about some of those things based on my videos. And because of that, I don't want to be super repetitive. Now, going into the facts, the first one is that I'm from Pennsylvania. I am from the United States, which you probably already knew, but specifically from the state of Pennsylvania. Even more specifically, I'm from Northeast Pennsylvania. And I always reference Scranton because even though I'm not from Scranton, it's the closest town that people, well, city, that people would know. Because my town is small, people won't even know it. It's not really even shown on the map on the local news channel. And because of that, I reference Scranton since most people know the show The Office. That's probably the closest well-known city to me, otherwise Philadelphia, which is about 2 hours away. Then, my next fact is that I'm 24 years old. And I always like to ask people how old they think I am, because I've gotten 16, and then when I was 18, I've gotten 15, 14. I get different things, but usually I don't get around my age, which is really funny. And honestly, I do feel like I'm still a kid. I hope that I always carry this youthful personality, I don't know, but I've gotten that. But no, I'm 24. I mentioned it very briefly in my digestible Polish review, and then also I mentioned it briefly in a live stream. I just haven't talked about it much, but I am indeed 24 years old. My next fact is that I have a younger sister who is 4 years younger than me, and we are like night and day. We don't look alike, we don't really have the same interests, but nevertheless, she really makes me laugh, and she is a fun person, and I think she's a beautiful person as well. I'll put a picture here so you could see the difference. Some people think we look alike, but personally, we don't see it. They usually say that it's the eyes. But I did feature her in one of my videos where I kind of featured my family. She's camera shy, so I don't even know how much she's in that video. But I'll try to put some pictures and stuff up there for you to be able to see her. The next fact is that I don't like driving. And I feel like that's an unpopular opinion, especially for younger people, because a lot of people like to go on joyrides. A lot of people like the freedom and independence of driving. A lot of people, I think, like the idea of driving because they live somewhere with public transportation and they think, wow, like, I wish I could go driving around for fun. I don't find it fun. I'm a very anxious person, and because of my anxious nature, I struggle with dealing with that as I'm driving. I'm constantly on guard, I don't blink, and then my contacts get dry in my eyes or something like that. However, I must say that It helps me be in the moment. It forces me to be focused on the moment instead of distracted by my thoughts. So there is that. Then the next fact is, since I don't like driving, I'll talk about some things that I do like. Other than languages, I enjoy singing, although I'm not good at it, dancing, writing stories. I haven't really written any in a while, but I used to love writing fanfics. I liked writing, creative writing, but specifically stories. I still do a lot of journaling, but not so much the stories anymore. And then I like playing video games such as Old School Spyro and Old School Tomb Raider. I was super excited when the Reignited trilogy came out. That was all I would talk about for a while, and although I don't own the game myself, I've had friends who are kind enough to let me go over their house and play the game. Super duper excited. If I look down, it's because I have these all listed out. I didn't really want to repeat myself, and it is hard to keep track of 50 facts. I learned how to swing dance in college. I did say I like dancing. I'll get into that a little bit more throughout the video. But I learned how to swing dance in college. That was funny because that was a preconceived thought that I had, was that swing dancing was for an older demographic. And I am sorry that I had that preconceived thought, because once I actually tried it, which there's a very big swing dance culture that is at my university, they have giant swing dances every year, and they have lessons that you can take, and I did become a part of that, and I really enjoyed it a lot, and I'm glad that I did it, and that was one of the types of dances that I have learned. Lately, I've been listening to a lot of podcasts that are business related. In general, I listen to an episode of a podcast every morning when I'm getting ready, but lately they've been more about creating your own business, running your own business, something that's been interesting me outside of languages lately. Sort of. I like most types of music, but I'm pretty picky about what I'll listen to over and over again. I pretty much like anything if you put anything on except for country and rap. But when it comes to something that I will listen to, which I do listen to the same things over and over and over again, I am super picky. I'm quick to say, oh yeah, this song is good, but you'll really know if I like it by how many times I listen to it on my own. Some music that I like, because my variety is kind of, I have a wide variety. I like symphonic power metal, like Nightwish, but then I also like K-pop. Very different kinds of music, but I really enjoy both. This one's funny. If you guys watch the show The Middle, which is no longer running, well, no longer producing new episodes, it ended, I'm basically Suhek. And anybody who knows me would know that. And I have this picture that I feel like embodies her and what she looked like. But people will say that because I have this cheery personality and because I like to try a lot of things, and I think because, I don't know, I can't really explain it from my own perspective, but if you ask people that I know, they'll say, oh yeah, she's Suhek. And if you don't know what that is, you should check out The Middle because it is such a great show and I love it. And if I could try everything, I would. Now, I have wanted to try basically learning how to code, learning how to crochet or knit, learning how to garden, baking. I want to learn everything. I know I mostly talk about languages on this channel, but if I could do everything and focus on one thing at a time and have a good foundation in it and then learn another hobby, I totally would, because there are so many cool things to try in this world and I want to try them all. This actually isn't my first YouTube channel, and my other one, which I no longer post on or anything, on that YouTube channel I made videos, animations based on MapleStory characters, which I used to play MapleStory, and on that end of things, I made friends back in the day. This was over 10 years ago, And I'm still friends with some of these people that I made friends with online, and it's been really cool to see how we've grown up and everything over time. I love cheesy jokes and puns. I don't think I really make them while I'm online, but in real life, if we're sitting and having a conversation together, I am constantly making what people would call dad jokes, cheesy jokes, puns, just little quirky, witty things. I really enjoy that. I think it's funny, and I kind of laugh easily at things like that. I'm easily amused by it, but I don't know, I really enjoy stuff like that. Now back to dancing. I've taken ballet, jazz, and hip hop. I took ballet in kindergarten, so I don't remember a thing. Jazz I took in 5th grade, don't remember a thing. And then hip hop I took in 9th or 10th grade. I think it might have been 9th actually. And they let me into the class even though I was too old for it. They were kind of in the middle of their semester, so I don't really know why they let my sister and I in the first place. But we got to be a part of that class, and I really wanted to learn how to do hip hop. I still think out of all the types of dance, it's still my favorite currently, and I would still love to learn how to do it well. I used to play piano. I actually learned for 3 years from 6th grade to 9th grade, and then I've kept up with it here and there. It's been a while since I've actually turned on the keyboard right there with my lobster right there. And occasionally I would turn it on and practice. It's been a while, but I hear it's kind of like learning a language, so maybe I could get back into it. It would be nice because I wouldn't want to waste all of that time that I put into learning it. I have the weirdest dreams, and I've been trying to think of a good example for this. Back in the 3rd grade, I had a dream about my grandma, and she was walking with my dad in my living room, and she was angry at him. I could just tell. She had this angry expression on her face, and she goes, "The USA is counting on you." And then later on in the dream, I guess she got so mad that she turned into this giant slimy black blob. I don't know what I ate that night. And then lately, I've been having dreams about running away from people, trying to get out of a building because somehow I know that I'm being chased, and instead of just running and hiding, I think it's better to go out into the open. I even had one where I knew there was a car out there, and I went to go to the car so I could get away as fast as possible. My dream job used to change every year because in school they would ask us our dream job. It would change every year, and for me it's been things like chemist, singer, vet, different types of things, but then eventually it became wanting to be a travel blogger. Now, I do that a little bit for my work. I've blogged a little bit about travel, and then even for fun, I do have the Passion for Dreaming blog, which was the blog about my time studying abroad. I'm both introverted and anxious, and I know people think because I'm on YouTube, I'm not introverted, but that is not true. I really am. I enjoy my alone time, and I need my alone time, more importantly. And as for being anxious, I guess maybe it doesn't always show on YouTube, but I do think of the worst case scenario more often than not, and that's something that I'm actively working on trying to be better about. And school both helped me become more extroverted and more introverted. What do I mean by that? When I went to college, I knew that I was going away, which was by choice, and I did not want the same situation as other people in my area who ended up coming back because they felt like they weren't able to make friends when they went away from home, and then they ended up being very homesick. And since I did not want that experience out of desperation, I thought I'm going to say yes to more opportunities, and, you know, within its limits, my limitations, I don't know. Either way, I wanted to be more open to doing things, so I did. And more open to talking to people and making conversation, which actually, it was pretty easy in the college environment. I had an extroverted roommate my freshman year, but then aside from that, and having people who modeled a good example of what I could do, people were more open to talking. In high school, there were a lot of cliques, whereas in college, I had friends from different backgrounds, all kinds of different backgrounds. People who were interested in the same things as me, people who weren't, but yet we spoke anyway. And it was a really nice time. But then I became more introverted going to grad school. I would leave my door open to my room and I would think people will come in like they did in undergrad. That was just a normal thing you would do, just leave your dorm room open and people would wander in, say hi, hang out. But that didn't happen in grad school and it's a totally different environment. I was a little bit saddened by that, but then I became, well, can't say I became more introverted because I was already introverted to begin with, but I kind of retreated back to where I was before I went to school because my experience in grad school was not the same as my undergrad experience. I love telling stories about my childhood because I think they're quite funny. And this is going to sound probably lame, but it was a real problem that happened. That is, when I was in kindergarten, I was bullied for my cookies at lunch. This girl went on my bus. She was older than me by a year or so. I was in kindergarten, so she must have been in first grade. And every day she would say, "What do you have for lunch today?" And I'm like, "Oh, I don't know, nothing." And then she'd be like, "Let me see," and take my lunchbox and take my cookies. And it got so bad. She did other stuff as well. And it got so bad that my mom actually went into the school and talked to the school about it, and then she didn't bother me again. But somehow I had in my mind that kindergarten was going to be fun, like the magic school bus, and everyone would get along, and the teacher would be friendly. And it was not that experience, which I know we weren't going to shrink down and go inside of someone's stomach or anything, but I thought it was going to be this friendly atmosphere. And I think, personally, that it got cliquey pretty quickly. Also, that is not the only time that I've had people say or do mean things to me, but I think out of all of them, that one was more of a silly one, but still. Fact 22, I am a major rule follower. I do not like to stray away from the rules. If I ever do, it's like not often at all. But the only thing I ever got in trouble for was talking, and even then, talking, when we're not supposed to be doing that in school. I don't mean talking in general. But even so, I didn't really ever do that anyway because I feared authority so much, or respected authority, I don't know. Now, I pronounce some words differently. And one example is, I will say, but since I'm aware of it, I've changed that since then. But one thing I would say differently is Tuesday instead of Tuesday for that day of the week. There are some other things I say differently, and usually I don't notice until other people point them out in me. I don't really notice it myself. This one's fun. I'm a cat and dog person. I like both, and yes, people who like both exist, because I always hear about people being put into two categories, either cat people or dog people, and then there's stereotypes associated with them. I like both. I mean, I grew up with a cat. Her name was Topaz, and she was a calico cat. She wasn't very nice, like people say about the stereotypical cat, but nevertheless, I loved cats. And the truth is, I was afraid of dogs. Nothing ever happened to me. I was never... a dog never bit me or anything, but I was afraid of dogs until I actually got one. Now, I actually can't stop talking. Remember I said before I can't stop talking about, or I couldn't stop talking about the Reignited trilogy for Spyro? Well, the other thing I can't stop talking about all the time is how much I want a dog. I talk about it all the time. I'll tag friends on Facebook in memes about dogs and saying, "Did you know I want a dog?" It's a running joke, but there's a lot of truth to it because I really like dogs. I really, really want a dog. But that's probably not going to happen for a couple of years. But if I could get a dog, there was this professor at my school, and I loved her dog, so I had my friend find out what kind of dog it was because that was her professor. And I believe it's pronounced Catahoula Leopard Dog, and I think they're so beautiful, and that is the kind that I really want. And if I get a dog, or even a cat, I'd want to name it Spyro. I kind of want to name my dogs or animals after video game characters. I like to photograph flowers. It seems very random, but in my blog posts sometimes you'll see pictures of flowers. I think they're beautiful, and a picture can't capture its beauty, but I try my best anyway. And pansies are my favorite kind of flower. I always thought they were super cute, and somehow they reminded me of cats when I was younger, and I don't know why, but I really like them. I think they're adorable. Because I was super gullible as a kid, my best friend actually got me to believe that there was this button in her bed, either red or blue. Red would mean there was a mansion, and blue would mean there was a castle, and apparently she had both, and that if you push it, you can go slide down into your castle mansion. And it was so funny, because she would get into different personalities over the phone of like the ghosts that live there or the knights or whatever. And I was so convinced that I had one of these because she said if your bed has one, there's this book that you'll have in your house, and she described it, and I was so sure that I had seen that book before. This is so embarrassing. I was so sure that I had this book that I went looking for it. I spent time looking for it to find this mansion in my bed. And there are more stories where that came from. Like I said, I love telling stories about childhood, but I thought that one was one of the funnier ones. I love fruit, and I always have, which sounds random, but at one point in my life I thought if I could live off of just fruit, I totally would. I did grow up eating very healthy, which contributed to that. But in college, I actually really struggled with sweets. And I know they talk about the freshman 15. That was very real, and it affected me in a negative way. And I'm not going to go into detail about that because it's more personal, and I feel like it's kind of unrelated to the language content. But now, after all that time, I'm more kind of back on kind of how I was raised with eating. So, yeah. I do wear glasses. I never appear with them in my videos because I'm self-conscious about them. I personally feel more confident without glasses on, but I'll put something here so that you could see that. I haven't gotten new glasses in a while, and it's hard to find glasses that actually fit my face since I have a small head, but I do wear them, and if I'm not leaving the house and I know that I'm not leaving the house, I usually wear them all day, but otherwise people mainly see me in contacts. One of my nicknames given to me by my dad is Jean Grey. I'll let you guess why, but that is one of my nicknames from the X-Men, if you don't know. I told you before that I love journaling, and I've filled up at least 7 or 8 since I was in 3rd grade, and I'd write about things like my daily life or my language learning journey, just different kinds of things. Sometimes I'd even write in other languages. I'd write about my time abroad, I'd write about my time in college, and I filled up at least 7 or 8, but I've lost count. I'm trying to figure out what I want to do with them one day. If I want to bury them in some kind of time capsule and then have this like crazy scavenger hunt for, I don't know, relatives to go find it, or if I want to put it in a safe and then gift it to them when I pass, kind of in my will, leave a letter for them and say, here's the story of my life. But I'm also embarrassed by the content inside of them, especially during my teenage years, because, you know, that teen angst. I spoke about this recently, well, tweeted about it, but I am an Enneagram 2 according to the test that I took, and I am an INFJ, which is very interesting because before I started college, I was an ISFJ, so one letter off. But when I did go to college, I told you I became a little bit more outgoing. I enjoyed hanging out with people more. I won't get into detail with that because it's like this video is already long as it is, but my experience was that I really enjoyed this stuff, being with people more than I did in high school, I think. And because of that, I actually got 1% E, so I was ESFJ for a little while in high school, but it literally, when it broke it down by percentage, it was 1% E, and honestly, to this day, it really depends on the day and how I'm feeling, which sounds weird, but I don't know, some days I do feel like going out with people and like being out all day, and then other times I'm like, no, I'd rather catch up on YouTube videos or read or write. Depends. Despite eating healthy, as I said before, I had a weakness for sweets later on in my college years. I still do have a weakness when it comes to chocolate, especially the chocolate and peanut butter combination. I love ice cream that has chocolate, peanut butter, and marshmallow. I didn't always like my curly hair. This is my natural hair, people ask, and no, this is not, I didn't get a perm. This is my natural hair, and if you saw my one tweet, I got it from my father, who had this kind of hair, but now no longer has it, so he'll make jokes all the time about ways that he lost his hair, and one of them was that I stole it. And it took me a while. I used to be super self-conscious about my hair because I felt like no one really had it that I knew. I didn't know how to style it. I felt like it was very puffy and just unmanageable. But eventually it's grown on me, literally and figuratively, and I've really learned to embrace it. I really do like my hair now, but it's taken a while to get to that point. Some of my smaller dreams in life actually did pertain to my hair. One of them was to dye my hair blonde, and the other was to dye my hair red, and I've done both. Some of my videos show me with the red hair, not the blonde hair, but I've done both. And yes, I do have the big dreams such as speaking multiple languages or traveling, but then I have the smaller dreams that are a little bit easier to accomplish, which was dyeing my hair different colors. I also, in addition to singing, dancing, writing, etc., I do enjoy acting, and I've acted in plays. I took an acting class when I was in 6th grade. I did take a drama class in 11th grade. I was usually a background person, kind of like the ensemble, but nevertheless, I did enjoy the experience of being in a play. Then, for my drama class, this is fun. My 11th grade drama class, we had assignments to do lip syncing. And what's interesting about that is we had to do choreography along with it. And my friend and I really got into the choreography aspect of it. Now, one time we were assigned a song and we were partners, so we had Dancing Queen. But we also got to choose our songs for the next round of that assignment. And I chose the Pokemon theme song. And I had so much fun, and we thought we were so awesome, but we weren't. But I like to go back and watch those and admire all the hard work we put into it, even if it's silly. It's still a good memory to have. And we did get to choreograph some other dances as well, and that was a really fun time in my life because I enjoyed that creativity and being able to do that with one of my really close friends. I really enjoyed, so when you're in school, even university, I know I say school, I usually mean college, which usually means university to most of the world, but I try to encompass that all when I'm talking so that everybody can understand. You have prerequisites that you have to take, at least here in the United States you do, and it's more holistic. You have to take science, math, history, English, or some type of writing communications course. Now for my math, I took computer science because I didn't want to take a math, and somehow at my school it did cover the math requirement, and I took it. It was Intro to Computer Science for non-majors. It had some programming, binary, very basic things, but I really enjoyed it, so much so that I almost majored in it. And I like to imagine sometimes, I know you shouldn't be thinking, what if, but I like to think, how would my life be different had I majored in that instead of double languages? The reason why I didn't was out of fear. I was afraid for the higher level courses because I saw that they involved math, and I just knew that wasn't my strong suit, and I thought maybe I should stick with something that I'm better at, and sometimes I kind of regret that, but other times I'm really happy with where I'm at. Moral of the story, I didn't pursue it out of fear, and sometimes I do wonder what my life would have been like, but at the same time, as I said before, I'm happy with where I'm at, and had I majored in computer science, I probably wouldn't be, at this point, where I am now. But sometimes I do entertain the thought, from time to time, because I did really enjoy it a lot. 45. This one is probably another unpopular opinion. I feel like I am the woman of unpopular opinions, but I actually enjoy public speaking. So no, I don't enjoy driving, but I do enjoy public speaking. I like the adrenaline rush of, I don't know, entertaining a crowd or something and teaching people in different aspects of public speaking and seeing everybody from behind whatever I'm standing behind. And it's just so much fun. My dad, he public speaks for a living. He's a pastor. And he public speaks for a living, and just like my mom has really helped me with my Spanish and languages, he has really helped me with the public speaking aspects of my life, and I am so grateful for that, because had he not helped me, I don't think I would be as strong of a public speaker as I have been in the past. I performed at a talent show in the mall, and that involved dancing in front of strangers. It was part of this scam that I was in 11th grade. I wasn't really thinking about it. It was some talent show for a talent search type thing. And, oh, what was it called? I looked it up recently. It was something America. Audition America. And it was a huge scam. I even tried looking it up now. The website doesn't exist. I think they were found out, and who knows what happened to it or to the people behind it. But there was this multiple, I guess, part competition. The first part was going on stage in an outfit that you like, that you just put on yourself from home. Going on stage, saying some line that they had you say, and walking across the stage and back. Then they pick the finalists out of that group. Then you have the photo shoot, which they do, but they charge a lot of money for it, and you have to buy the pictures. Which, that's funny. There's a story behind that. We ended up... Never mind. So, anyway, that was quite the story. And then the last part of it was the talent part, and I decided to dance because that's what I enjoyed doing. So I tried to do some kind of hip-hop routine that I choreographed, which I guess would have been the same year that I would have been choreographing those dances for drama class with my friend. And that was really embarrassing. Like, I'm surprised I actually went out and did this thing. And while I want to say, oh, I'm proud that I did this in front of strangers, it was a moment of doing something while I was still scared, and it was worthwhile. Even though that was a cool experience, and even though it ended up being a scam, I just remember hearing the announcer after being like, okay, thank you, which is kind of embarrassing because I felt like, okay, so it wasn't good? And then when they gave me my scores back, the scores were fine, there was nothing wrong with them, but just the reaction over the microphone made me feel embarrassed that I actually did that, and made me think, well, what did I just do in the mall in front of all these strangers? Yeah, I don't have a video of that, unfortunately. Well, no, maybe fortunately. Another unpopular opinion, you guys, I don't like coffee. I know everyone posts in their bio for their blogs or for Twitter or whatever, coffee lover, blah blah blah, and I'm like, no, that's not me. I don't like coffee. It makes me feel sick to my stomach. I've tried it, I've given it a chance a couple of times, and every time I just feel really sick for the rest of the day. And I wish I liked coffee because there's so many cool flavors that I see out there, so many different what do I want to say? I don't even know the terms, like the terminology for coffee drinkers and everything, but different flavors that are in the coffee that aren't syrups. And there's so many of that out there, but then I prefer tea. Well, when I go somewhere, or hot chocolate, I like hot chocolate, I like juices like apple juice and orange juice, but when I go somewhere for a hot chocolate, they don't have on the menu 10 different hot chocolates. You usually have to ask, like, oh, could I get a pump of this in there? Whereas with the coffee, they'll be like, oh, all these different flavors of coffee. But for me, you know, not so much. I wish there were more specialty hot chocolates out there. Tea, there's different types as well, but still, I wish that, I don't know, it was as popular as coffee, at least here, but I do enjoy tea. I also like chocolate milk, forgot to mention that. Doesn't always like me, but I like it. This one does deal with my faith, actually. So, I didn't want to be repetitive, but I am a Christian. And as I mentioned earlier, my dad is a pastor. And the type of church that he has is a Mennonite church. So I grew up with the Mennonite faith, and if you know anything about Mennonites, a lot of people automatically say, oh, Amish, which it's different. And so if you're interested in reading about religions or denominations, I invite you to check that out because it's they're a very nice group of people, and we're not traditional Mennonites. If you do read up on it, there are certain defining features, such as maybe clothing. So, as you could tell from my videos, I don't really dress like that, and, yeah, I did grow up with the Mennonite background, though, and usually if people ask, I will say, oh, yeah, I'm Mennonite, because our beliefs line up with the Mennonite faith. We're part of the Mennonite conference, but we just don't look like the traditional Mennonites. My guilty pleasure is watching Hallmark movies. It stemmed from one day I happened upon a Hallmark movie and I'm like, oh, a rom-com, cool. And then I realized, oh, they play movies all the time on this channel, how exciting. And then it became a tradition of where I would come home from school after a semester and I would just sit and binge watch these movies when they were on, especially during Christmas where they're on 24/7. Because I thought this is a great way to relax and not really have to use my brain too much to think about like crazy in-depth topics. I could just sit back and enjoy this story, whether it's predictable or cheesy or whatever. I still enjoyed it. I liked it. And I still, to this day, I'll watch all the new movies. I really enjoy them. My friend actually got me a shirt that said, this is my Christmas Hallmark watching shirt, or my Hallmark Christmas movie watching shirt. Yeah, so much fun. I love them. And then my last fact number 50, is that I naturally wake up early. Could be anywhere from 6:30 to 7 at latest. I would like to sleep in more, but honestly it's a blessing to be able to get up early because I do have more time in my day, but it just means that I have to be more disciplined about going to bed earlier because no matter how long or what time I go to bed at, my body will sleep for 7 hours. And I usually do wake up, I mean lately I've been waking up more at 5:30, but usually it's between 6, 7, and that's it. Those are the facts about me. 50 facts, there's plenty more. I'm sure if you counted every single thing that I mentioned, it would be more than 50 facts because I do like to talk and ramble and stuff. But I hope that you guys enjoyed this. If any of these resonated with you, let me know. I'd like to know about you guys too, what we may have in common, what may not be so much in common. I do enjoy getting to know you guys through your comments. And once again, I am so grateful that you have subscribed to this channel. If you haven't, but you enjoy these language videos or language encouragement, then please subscribe for more content. I love helping people in their language journey. Now I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.